will be meeting at a new time, so don't forget.
Forget what?
That The Unforgettables will now be on the air from 9 to 11 p.m. Saturday nights.
Forget about it.
So then you won't forget?
Forget what?
That The Unforgettables will now be on from 9 to 11 p.m. Saturday nights.
Excuse me? I forgot what the class is about.
The Unforgettables, as always, has been about celebrating the great American popular songbook, the vocalists, musicians, and songwriters. We not only play their music, but oftentimes a legendary name or newcomer to the scene will join us for an interview. So don't forget to tune into The Unforgettables every Saturday night at 9 on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Whoa, hey man, I think I'm in the wrong classroom.
If you try, you can make it if you try.
All right, I think I might have actually made that happen as planned, Joe. I don't know.
You made that work. No, you did it. You made it, you tried, and you made it.
Anyway, and I think I tried and made it. We have Mr. Jorge Lopez on the phone with us. George, you there?
Hey, man.
I'm here. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Happy Sunday. What's going on, man?
Well, I guess I get to keep my job for another week. It worked. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday.
Yes, Sunday is it's a nice Sunday out here on the East Coast. It's a little chilly. Yesterday was nice and warm.
Yeah, it was like 80-something degrees.
I like it like this.
Oh, wow.
But we're here to not talk about the weather. We're here to talk about Jamco Parts today.
Yes, sir.
So tell us, give us like the history.
Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, give us a little the history bit, and then we'll fill in the blanks.
Pretty cool looking website.
Jamco Parts is basically a parts company that's specialized, and it's been around for about 25 years. It's gone through a big revival here in the last couple of years. But basically, it's a company that specializes in late 40s, early 50s custom. So, your typical classic custom, we're talking, Ford shoe boxes and Mercury lead sleds. And through the years, 25 years ago, the company was started by Jim Genty. It was a side business, side hobby type of company. It was started in Northern California, where there's a big lifestyle scene when it comes to those type of vehicles. And it was very, very nice, and it got a very good reputation for a lot of years. Unfortunately, after Jim passed away, company was purchased and bought by a different company, and it was kind of put through the way, on the back burner, and went through a couple bad years, and kind of gave the company a bad reputation and bad name just because they weren't taking care of their customers the way Jim would have liked. And a couple of years ago, Jim's son Tony bought the company back and revived the whole name, the brand, and we expanded to the whole custom scene, which includes, all sorts of 60s and early 70s, including the shoe boxes and the Mercury. So anything custom, anything that gets chopped, lowered, stretched, channeled, sectioned, shaved and decked, that's what we specialize in. Yeah. And our main focus right now is chassis suspension, and brakes, power steering conversions, engine conversion kits, lowering springs, ball joint conversions, anything that makes those old 40s and 50s cars drive a little bit better. And in the 60s and 70s, just anything that helps them stop better and steer better and just, gives you the overall ride. What it was is, the sacrifice of making these cars look and sit and look cooler as they're lower. Back in the day, you had to sacrifice ride. So we're trying to eliminate that from the vehicles now. We don't need to sacrifice ride to have your car look cool. So that's where our big goal is right now.
George, what I found interesting is right on your website you have a ride height simulator of a car. It's cool. You can see a 1-inch, 2-inch, or a full drop on the car.
That is cool. Yeah,
it's neat as hell.
Yeah,
it helps out a lot. Yeah, it does help out a lot. So people do like that feature. They go on there and they kind of want to know. I go, it's going to, gives you a general view of the type of vehicle you have. We start with a full, leaf spring and spring car to a four corner spring car, and then to 70s and up type car, and you could choose the stance, and it'll give you a general view of what your drop's going to be when you go with one of our kits. Dropping cars and lowering springs was our main thing for a long time.
How far up into history did Ford use Kingpins? When did they stop those? Do you know?
They stopped in 1954. Was the first year with ball joint.
Okay.
So we do our ball joint conversions up until 1953, it's been a little bit of a not, I don't want to say a problem, but we make really nice tubular upper and lower control arms with ball joints, and then use a Mustang conversion on the cars that go up to 53. And our customers with 54 and up cars, even though they have ball joints, they're a little jealous that they still don't get that choice of that really nice tubular control arm and kind of updated suspension components. They typically just rebuild the original since the ball joints are already built in. But I think we're working on that right now, and we'll give the full option to have nicer suspension components for the newer vehicles that already had ball joints in them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So what's the core, like what does your core customer kind of represent? Are you dealing with lowrider guys? Are you dealing with hot rod guys? I know you have a mix of all of it, but does it lean one way or the other?
Yeah, what we call the custom guy here, which is basically, it's a mix. It's a mix of, George Barris style customs, 50s and 60s, chop tops, lowered cars, white walls, that type of vehicle. And it does kind of bleed into the lowrider group also. All it is different paint and different wheels, but the vehicles are the same. The suspension components are obviously the same. So it does bleed into a couple different guys. And then you got the guys with, the stock vehicles that just want to make them sit lower and stop better. So we kind of have that with that range from a stock vehicle that just wants a better stance all the way to a full-blown crazy custom that, also needs those, that type of aggressive stance and better stopping and braking for their full custom vehicles,
Right. What's nice, it struck me about your website, JamcoSuspension.com. You can find parts like Brody knobs. A lot of people don't know what that is, but I do.
Yeah.
And glass blue dots. I mean, these are under $10 for these parts. Flathead parts.
Exactly.
And then you get these tubular control arms. So
so you run the gamut from like the ancient to the modern. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it's mixing the ancient with the modern, So that's what people want to go with now. Excuse me. And it just gives people options and one of the big things with our ball joint conversions is a lot of these guys didn't have that option before, and they had to go with stub kits or Mustang 2 front ends that requires you to chop your frame from the firewall forward and really convert it. And not everyone's comfortable with that, or not everyone really can afford that type of labor if they can't do it themselves. And these parts that we have are direct bolt-ons. There's hardly any modification, maybe besides a little bit of steering column adaptation for some of the power steering conversions. There's hardly any major modification. It's almost all bolt-on. So people like that about these kids too.
That's important.
The only thing I didn't see was a swamp cooler.
Yeah, right.
Again,
on the side windows.
And again, guys on the East Coast, a lot of them don't know what that is, and not that I'm a Bajo from the barrio or anything, but I'm familiar with what it is. I know what the whole thing is.
Exactly. No, we get a lot of those around here, but. Yeah, I mean, we're expanding. We just released our new catalog for 2017 in the history of Jamco. It's the first catalog they had. I'll probably put one in an envelope, send it to you guys, just so you guys can have it.
That would be great, yeah.
And stuff. And but we're our first catalog is just kind of our major A movers and stuff that's signature to Jamco. But we're going to expand to the restoration side of it also, and basically add stuff like that, the additional things and interior components. We already started doing carpet, which has been a big mover.
Yeah, I see that on your website. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to do weather stripping. Other stuff guys are going to need now. Tony, the owner, and the son of Jim, who started the company, myself, and our third partner, Gus Stewart, he's basically our media and marketing manager. We all come from the world of restoration and different aspects of the classic car world. So, just suspension for us is a little bit, even though it's our bread and butter, it's a little bit of a roadblock, and we all are comfortable with expanding the line to having moldings, door handles, door sill plates, taillight lenses, and bezels, bumpers, hardware, and that type of stuff. And these guys need that stuff too. So if they could come to one place to get it, why not?
Right,
sure.
Right.
I always find that once you find a good guy to deal with, you know what I mean, you tend to stick with them. And if you start carrying more products that I may want to need, you're going to be my first call rather than starting to look around. I go to you first.
We were just talking about that before the show because I was at the big swap meet out here at Englishtown, and I went to my It's funny, if you look at last week's Thursday night's Plane and Traffic show with Lou Santiago, we had the guy on from, it was Tony from OPGI.
Yeah, I know Tony very well, yeah.
And I happened to mention that I deal with Ames a lot because I have a Pontiac and I buy a lot of stuff from him. So the guy, of course, Don from Ames was really happy with that when he saw the replay of the show.
Too, yeah.
And and I think Tony's like with it too. But that's the thing. Like I said, like Joe just said, when you get customer loyalty and people want to come back to you if they feel they got a good shake and they like the service they get, they're coming back, and that's the name of the game, to keep people coming through the door and get the referrals as well.
Especially stuff like this, where you got to know your product, you got to know your vehicle. You don't want to have a combination that ain't going to work. Sounds like you guys have been there, done that, and you've kind of weeded all that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, combined with the three of us, we got over 50 years of customer service in the automotive aftermarket and restoration world. So we're really, really comfortable with that stuff. We're really familiar with our own product. We know all the tech ourselves. If customers have questions, they need to call in.
That's important.
And if you call in, we're right now we're still in the small stage. We're a small shop out of Cypress, California, but we're all three guys that have been in the big world and know how to treat it that way. So I mean, you're going to call in, you're going to talk to me, Tony, or Gus, and you're going to talk to people who know what they're talking about and what their product is. And like you said, people call in. I mean, I've even had some, we're not perfect. I've had some issues with some customer problems and stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just helping that customer out through the problem, fixing it for them, and then you get the call back again because they want to deal with you, and they at least they know, all right, well, we could deal with George, we could deal with Tony, we could deal with Gus,
That's important.
There's been a couple companies that I've been around lately, and I've seen it's guys, I bought a sound bar the same way. It's guys that were all, they happen to be engineers at other audio companies that did nothing but speakers, and they reformed in a new company. And I said, those are the guys I want, even though no one knows the name of the thing. It's not
exactly.
It's not a Samsung. You do the research and you say, wow, this is the best of the best that conglomerated to make a new company, and that's where I want to go. That's
and that's basically what's happening in Jamco.
Right.
Tony is huge in the industry. I mean, you could just Google his name, and he's all over YouTube and SEMA shows for years. Gus, walk around with Gus through a show like SEMA, and he's kind of a rock star. Everyone knows him. He also does work for the Rodgers Journal right now, and if you guys know the Rodgers Journal, that's a pretty nice high-end magazine, and everyone knows Gus, and I've been on overhauling multiple times. I know a couple of people in the industry. I've done a bunch of things, so it's so you got the three of us there working for the small company called Jamco, and we've and since Tony's taken over in 2 years, we've doubled our business, so we're heading in a good direction, and we really for Jim, the original owner, we really want to save also his namesake. He started a really nice company that was kind of the ball was dropped on it a couple years ago, and it got a really bad reputation by a lot of people, and Tony just didn't feel good about that, and we really want to save the name and let people know, hey, this company was started for a good reason, for good people and good vehicles, and we want to continue that and resurrect it to the point that it needs to be and should be. So
that's great.
We really have that kind of legacy importance attached to it, I think.
And plus, in your credentials, don't forget, Lou Santiago.
I know Lou Santiago. Yeah, I was on CarFix with them a couple times.
Oh, are you?
I
didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Again, for people, I want to let them know that if you go to Lou Santiago's Facebook page or go to allensmag.com, Louis Lee's site, you can catch the Plane and Traffic show. It was from March 23rd of this year. That's when George was on, and you can catch that interview then. So that's very cool. But you know what, George? I want to keep you on for a minute. I want to take a break. We're going to take a quick break here. And we'll come back and we'll talk again. I'm going to change gears on you and talk about a couple of your. I made notes from Plane and Traffic because I'm a note taker. Right. So we're going to talk about some of your personal projects, and then we'll have some fun with that.
Well, I've always been a big Pontiac guy, so we could definitely rap about that.
Excellent. All right, so on Motormouth Radio with Ray Guarino, Joe D, Jorge Lopez from Jamco Parts. Let's take a break. We'll have a little bit of fun. Hang on.
Okay, you got it.
Everyone, be quiet. The chairman of the board has arrived.
Hey, this is Glenn DeMilt, host of Sinatra's Serenade.
Since when is Glenn DeMilt the chairman of the board?
No, you see, around here, we're talking about old Blue Eyes.
My eyes are brown.
I see we have a lot of teaching left to do here at Nassau Community College.
Will this be on the test?
Not if you join me for 2 big hours of music and memories with Frank Sinatra.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the